Hey everybody, it's Jason Wood from 11 O'Clock Comics, and it's Wednesday, April 5th, which means it's time to talk about the comics on stands that I am most excited to pick up. So without further ado, let's jump into this week's top 5. Up first this week, we have Planet of the Apes #1 from Marvel Comics. You'll notice on the cover at the top left indicia, it says 20th Century Studios, so it looks like there's a bit of co-branding there because 20th Century owns the Planet of the Apes IP. But either way, this book is written by David Walker with art by longtime friend of 11 O'Clock Comics, Dave Wachter, with colors by Brian Valenza. The creative team made this a no-brainer for me. To be fully transparent, I am not necessarily a nostalgic fan of the original Planet of the Apes stuff. It predates me just a bit. But I very much enjoyed the movies that came out over the last decade, and I have certainly enjoyed some of the comics from other publishers over the years. Marvel seems to be doing a great job with pretty much all of their licensed books of late, so I have high hopes for this one. It's a Marvel-heavy week, as you see with #2 being Avengers War Across Time #4. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned each of the issues of this miniseries so far, so you're probably not surprised to see #4 on the video. This is written by Paul Levitz, which I will remind you again is the significance here, because Paul Levitz spent the entirety of his Hall of Fame writing career at DC. So he's finally getting a chance late in life to pen an Avengers story. And he is paired up perfectly with Alan Davis, who I will get on my podium and say I believe is one of the, if not the best superhero artist alive today. And last but certainly not least, Rachelle Rosenberg throws in on the colors. This has been a fun story set in the early days of the Avengers. This is pure nostalgia. If you are not a particular fan of the Silver Age Avengers kind of ethos, then this probably isn't for you. But I know many of you watching and listening very much do love that era, as I do. And for those who are a part of that crew, you will be a fan of this series for sure. It's a trifecta of Marvel titles this week, as Immoral X-Men #3 of 3 makes the list. This is, I believe, the 8th of 11 chapters in the Sins of Sinister X event, and the first of the month where we're looking at 1,000 years into the future after Mr. Sinister pulls his shenanigans. As with all of these Immoral X-Men stories, the writer is Kieron Gillen. This month, the art for all 3 chapters of Sins of Sinister is Alessandro Vitti, with colors by Rain Barreto. Our 4th pick of the week is published by Image Comics, and that is Love Everlasting #6, written by Tom King, with art by Elsa Charretier and colors by Matt Hollingsworth. This is a twisted, almost psychological horror take on romance comics, the kinds of romance comics that dominated the stands back in the 40s and 50s. In this series, Tom and Elsa take our protagonist through the ringer. Every time she seemingly falls in love, and it's going to last forever, a mysterious assassin appears and kills her, and she wakes up in an entirely new reality to do it all over again. It's like Groundhog's Day meets romance comics meets psychological horror, and it's wonderful because it's distinctive. And I will, a final matter, say, if you're not familiar with Elsa's art style, its strong line work is perfect for this kind of romantic ethos. Our 5th and final pick of the week should be no surprise because it's a Saga week. Yes, published by Image Comics, we've got Saga #63, written as always by Brian K. Vaughan, with art as always by Fiona Staples. Look at that cover. If that doesn't make you smirk, I don't know what will. But simply put, Saga remains one of the best, if not the best, comic on stands. It's so good, though, that I think that often it doesn't get the love anymore. We're just used to it being great, so we don't talk about it, and that's a shame, because it continues to be one of the books where I read every month and I'm just blown away by what a fantastic narrative they've been weaving for so many years now. And that does it for this week. We've got a nice 5-pack with 3 Marvel books and 2 Image books. Sorry DC, sorry Dark Horse, sorry Boom, Maybe we'll see you next week, hopefully. But in all seriousness, it's a pretty strong week. I wouldn't say it's an incredibly strong week where I had to sift through 12, 15 books to winnow it down to 5, but always solid, and I think the 5 books that we highlighted are going to all be bangers. As always, we appreciate you listening and watching. Please do hit that like button, share the video with your friends, and above all else, subscribe to the channel. It's free. And then if you want a lot more comics conversation, please check out our flagship podcast, 11 O'Clock Comics, at Spotify, at Apple, or anywhere else you choose to get your podcasts. And visit us at 11oclockcomics.com, where you can access nearly 900 archival episodes for free. And if you want to get to know us a bit better and have engaging conversation about comics and comics culture in a very safe and moderated environment outside of the craziness of much of the open internet, you can check us out at our Slack channel, which can be gotten to by subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/11oclockcomics, or you can check us out on the Facebooks, where we have a very active and engaged moderated group at facebook.com/groups/11oclockcomics. Thanks again for watching and listening, and I'll be back next week.